Will the developer give you back your deposit? You notice a slowdown in the new condo development in the GTHA? Is it a storm brewing, or is it just a strategic plan by the developers to pull back slightly? Stick around. We're going to dive into an article from stories.com and see what's happening in the GTHA with all of these condo developments pausing recently. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Mike Carpino. Today we're going to unpack this article here on stories.com. It's an article that's not only affecting developers, but it's affecting all of us that are involved in the real estate game. Whether you're eyeing your first condo or you're an investor in the real estate game, you're going to want to keep an eye on this discussion here, and don't forget to stay tuned to the end of the video where I'll give you my full breakdown of what I think this means for the next year in the Toronto real estate and GTHA real estate market. Now, if you want to discuss real estate, you can click the first link in the description. You can have a one-on-one consultation call with me where I can kind of walk you through what's happening in the specific area that you live. I'm constantly helping people who contact me through my YouTube videos get into the market or navigate from their first sale to their second sale. And if that sounds like you, don't hesitate. Book an appointment with me now in the first link in the description, and we can chat about what's next for you in the real estate market. So before we actually dive into the article here, which I'll pull up on my left-hand side, let's just talk about condos and what's happening. So currently we're seeing an influx of condo inventory, and we're seeing condos not particularly moving at a good pace in the Greater Toronto area. Now, this is just resale that I'm talking about. Now, this article here is talking about new development condos. And since 2022, I'm going to spoil the headline for you, but there have been 60 delayed projects when it comes to new development. So as we dive into this article, I want you to really think about what this means for you as somebody who may have invested in a resale project, what this means for the future of new development. How can you trust the builders if we're seeing this many pull back? Or what are some of the signs that you might need to look for in a builder if you are going to invest into pre-construction projects around the Greater Toronto area? So let's dive into what's actually causing these developers to delay their projects. Number one is the interest rates. We all know where they are, and we haven't seen them budge in the last 18 months. So there's a lot of anticipation that rates may adjust, according to the Bank of Canada, at some point this year. And as we're doing this video here, we're at the end of April, beginning of May, and we have not seen any rate reductions. We're hoping that we get our first, maybe quarter-point reduction in June, but as of this point, it is all just a hope. The second thing is affordability of everything, not just housing. Whether it's your gas, whether it's your grocery, whether it's your child care, obviously the housing and your mortgage costs, everything is substantially more than it was 12 to 24 months ago. So we don't have a housing problem all by itself currently. We have an affordability issue for everything, all consumer goods, plus your housing. So even if we get some of these rate reductions, we're not going to see grocery stores lower their prices back down because they can see we are all paying for the prices that are actually on the shelves today. So the reality is we are in a new world where things are just going to cost more, and that won't change until everybody is no longer able to purchase these goods. Besides these two factors, construction costs are way up. It is a material good. Costs have gone up because the gas has gone up and the labor has gone up. And when we see these three issues compiled, this is where we're going to get a lot of these issues coming in for these builders. And if they are able to actually go through with their projects without halting or delaying or terminating these projects altogether. So what does this mean for you as a buyer? Should you invest in pre-construction in the future? Should you stay as far away as possible? Let's take a look at the article here. I'm going to read it for you. It'll be on the left-hand side. If you do not want to follow along with me, feel free to click the link in the description, go through the article yourself, and then come back to the video here, and we can discuss at the very end of this video what I think this means going forward. So without further ado, let's take a look at the article. So titled, 60 GTHA condo projects are on hold indefinitely as developers pull back dramatically. 60 projects is a lot of projects, and that's a lot of people who have invested in their condo, put down their original deposits and possibly some additional deposits to follow, and now they might be getting news that developers are taking a break. So let's see what the article, and now they might be getting news, developers might be taking a break here. So let's see what the article has to say. So the new data from Urban Nation shows that 21,505 units that were on track to launch since the market began to slow down in 2022 are now indefinitely on hold. So despite the fact that we've been seeing things perk up in the housing market, generally speaking, the Greater Toronto Area and Hamilton area have had the new condominium segment remain very sluggish. In a large part, it's because developers have dramatically pulled back as they see that the buyers are not willing or aren't in the position to currently bite. Urban Nation reported on Monday that only 4 new condo projects were brought to the market in GTHA in the first quarter of 2024. Those 4 projects jointly contained 958 units. Individual housing contained 958 units. And 3 of these were in the 905 region. So generally that is your Brampton area. The Toronto-based research and consultancy firm also said that jarringly around 60 new condo projects that were on track to launch since the market began to slow down in 2022 are now on hold indefinitely. Those 60 projects would have added 21,505 units to the region and were already being marketed to the public when they were put on hold. This past September, those same figures clocked in at 31 projects and 8,038 units, according to figures provided previously by Urban Nation to Stories.com. When you consider the state of the buyer pool as of late, those figures do make sense. On the pre-construction side, Urban Nation reported that developers that stayed locked in on their pre-construction projects in the first quarter of 2024 were met with very tepid results. In fact, just 50% of these pre-construction projects across the region were sold in the quarter, which is down from your average 61% last year and 85% in the peak of the market in 2022. Meanwhile, the unsold inventory across all stages of development in GTHA came in at 23,815 units, and in Q1 making it a 2% quarterly dip, but 30% and 124% increase over the past year and 2 years respectively. Overall, asking prices for the unsold units in the GTA declined 3% annually to an average of $1,300 per square foot. Urban Nation has also added that additionally, there's a widespread use of incentives, among which included free parking, reduced or no development levies, reduced deposit structure of less than 15%, rental guarantees, 5% on the broker commission side to incentivize us agents, interest on deposits, and some mortgage assistance programs. So as you're going to see on the chart that's provided here, this is your GTHA new condo apartment sales for Q1. Obviously, it's taken us back all the way to 2004, but if we're looking at our 10-year average, it would generally be just under 5,000 units. And then today, Q1 2024, we are looking at 1,461 units that have actually sold, so not looking very good. Though developers did their best to entice GTHA buyers last quarter, new condo sales still took a major hit. According to Monday's data, just 1,461 sales were recorded across the region in the quarter, putting quarterly sales at the lowest level since the global financial crisis in Q1 of 2009. Outside of that brief period in early 2009, new condo sales haven't been this slow since the late 1990s, Urban Nation has also noted. In addition, sales recorded over the first quarter came in 71% below the latest 10-year average for Q1 periods. Obviously, we already discussed that, 4,978 sales. And we're also down a whopping 85% from the high Q1 that was reached of almost 10,000 sales in 2022. As for new construction, there's a steep drop-off in the quarter. Q1 2024 had 2,361 new condos that began construction in the GTHA, which is down 52% annually, said the firm. After 2 years of pre-construction sales trending down sharply, the construction activity is being hit hard. Urban Nation President Sean Hildebrand has stated, while anticipated reductions in interest rates in the second half of the year should lead to some improvements in the market for new condos, activity will likely remain subdued as the industry works its way through inventory that is currently available and digests the numerous government policies on housing that were recently released. Looking ahead a little, a total of 17,076 units across 56 different projects have released marketing materials for an upcoming launch in the next couple of quarters, according to Urban Nation, with 70% of those slated for the 905 region. So after we've gone through this article, let me just say it does not sound like things are in a good state. If you have invested in one of these projects, you're likely not very happy with the current state and the current situation that things have found themselves in. Right now, if you've invested in one of these projects and it's been put on hold, what are you going to do going forward? What are your plans? How are you going to adjust and move forward given the fact that your development is on hold? Will the developer give you back your deposit? Are they holding it for a prolonged period of time until they decide if they can resume construction? We'll have to see what happens with a lot of these projects, because 60 projects that have put on hold is not a small number. Now, recently, we've obviously seen some things that have been announced by the government. They're not all approved, but with the raise in potential capital gains going forward for investors, it's really deterred a lot of people to get into the condo market. We were seeing a lot of these condos being gobbled up by investors, people who are trying to get ahead in life, try to have a second property, maybe rent it out for some income and turn that into their children's retirement fund at the end of the day. But it's no longer looking like that's a great option with the new updates to the housing laws that the Liberal government has recently announced. So what is my outlook on all of this? Will rates lower in the next 6 months? Yes, I think we'll see a rate reduction, maybe a quarter point to half a point. I don't think we're going to see much more than that. If we do, it would be fantastic. We need that, to be honest with you, because we're not seeing much buyer confidence right now at all. We're seeing buyers who are just waiting because they've heard Bank of Canada might lower rates at some point. So they're kind of waiting for that point to happen to see what happens with the actual prices, what happens with the real estate market in general. We're coming off of these extreme lows not seen since the financial crisis in 2009 or the late 1990s. We're in 2024, so this is something that is historical, so to speak, the numbers that we're seeing and the current lows. If I was an investor, if I was looking to buy my first home right now, I would really second guess going the new construction route. And the reason why I would do that is because you are putting your money into a project that you don't know if it will be completed, but you're also tying up capital for a longer period of time, 2 to 3 years. I would much rather buy something that's available on the resale market, maybe negotiate with the seller today because they are distraught, not getting the same amount of viewings that they were hoping for, no rate reductions. So maybe you're able to actually negotiate a really good deal, and then you could potentially get a fixed rate right now in the mid to high 4s, and you might be satisfied with getting into the market and doing it that way. Ultimately, if you're a buyer, you have to decide, is this the right time for you? At the end of the day, that's all it comes down to. If you have the finances in place, you can get a good deal, then it may be the time to pull the trigger. Do not buy into the agents who are telling you, buy before things get crazy, because ultimately you can see the numbers here and things are extremely slow, especially on the pre-construction side. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, if we are going to try and determine which builders we can trust going forward, how do we know if a project will be canceled in the future? Really, what I think we need to do is look at the history of these builders. We need to look at the projects that they've built. How long did it take these projects to get built? Were there delays upon delays, or did they build it on their specific schedule? What is the current status of these builds? Is there a lot of issues with them? Maybe the construction was done poorly or too quickly, or the materials they used were cheap. These are some telltale signs for us that the development was either a good development and the developer did a great job, or maybe it might give you some hesitation to get into a secondary project that they're now getting into. Now, there are plenty of projects that haven't actually come to fruition in the past. There's some builders that have gone bankrupt. So you should be able to search your builder that you're maybe considering investing in. And if they have any dark past, you're going to be able to find that on the internet. Whether you're on ChatGPT or Google, you can find the information you're looking for. So make sure you do all of that research before you do invest with a builder. And make sure you get these incentives. If you're going to go that route, take a look at what the incentives are, because right now you are getting some really nice incentives because builders need to move some units so they can continue on with their projects and they don't add on to that 60 canceled projects. If you found this helpful today, and if you think this video has value for somebody else, just hit that share button, send it to them, and let them get their own opinion on what's happening in the real estate market. Once again, You want to dive into real estate a little bit further with me? Click the first link in the description. If you need help navigating this crazy real estate market and you want an agent you can trust, click the first link in the description, book your 30-minute consultation call with me, and then we can get you started on your real estate journey. But another article breakdown by stories.com. Let me know in the comment section down below, would you invest in new development today? Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful day. Bye for now.